Alright, guys. Today is my first episode of Honest Shit with Honest Sean. And of course, today I am Honest Sean. Tomorrow I will always be Honest Sean. Well, let's see. A little bit about myself. My name is obviously Honest Sean. I'm not going to give you my full name due to seclusion. Well, let's see. I'm roughly 17. My birthday's next February, so happy. I am going to be completely open about this. I smoke pot. I smoke cigarettes. I rarely drink. I play video games all day, and I'm a high school dropout. Nothing much else to it. But that's honesty. And honesty is a pretty great virtue, in my opinion. And that's what I'm here to talk about, is opinions. Things that people might feel a little too scared or uncomfortable, even weird to talk about. Things like how rape affects the mind of a child or family, or how the mind affects to vulgar language or vulgar thoughts. You know, people putting others down. People don't seem to fathom how that can mess someone's mind up to make them want to kill them, literally. Put a gun to their head. But that's not what I'm talking about today. What I'm talking about is the insecurities that one might have with their body. With their body. Now, a lot of the main ones are generally like anorexia, bulimia, most of the things that will make somebody want to either gain or lose weight. Anorexia, if for those who don't know, is one of the main mental diseases that indicate that somebody obviously thinks they're a little too thick on the thighs and want to lose weight when they're only 185. So they drop from 185 to literally 126, and they can barely get off their ass because they have no muscles in their body and cannot move. The only way they'd ever be able to move is a muscle spasm. You know, just... oh shit, I did it. You know? And another one that not a lot of people actually like to think they care about, but deep down in their hearts they do. It's, well, I hate to say this, but it's people who think they're fat. And not to say they are, but, you know, they might be 10 pounds overweight or 3 pounds overweight, or they might have some thick thighs, or they might have a big gut like so. Well, you couldn't really see that, but that's okay. I prefer you didn't anyway. Anyway, so, with that being said, not a lot of people think about this, but what you're really doing to that person is actually either turning them into a sadistic killer, or you're turning them into the most depressed piece of shit that you've ever met. And it's all because of you. So remember that. Another one of the many insecurities that someone might have about their body is not how much they weigh, but what they look like. Okay? Standards. Since the dawn of time, we've always had standards on our love. You know, this guy needs to be adventurous or bashful or even, I don't know, fucking kinky. I don't care. But anyway, it's these standards that make people lonely and make people shallow. Because, now, I'm going to use an example. I'm going to use myself as an example. I was recently dating this girl. Now, for the sake of privacy, we're going to call her Melissa. Now, Melissa, she lives roughly about 60, 70 miles away from me, so it was a long-distance relationship. Now, she was also in a rehabilitation center, so I was sending her letters back and forth when she was in there. While she was out, I was talking to her through the phone and Facebook. So, you know, all in all, it was going okay until she had quit ignoring me. And then I started to think to myself, well, maybe this is my fault, maybe I did something, maybe, you know, and I just fell into a dark pit of despair. Well, this ain't dark, but you get my point. Dark pit of despair, and I thought of myself as worthless. I was horrible. I was the worst person on the planet. And I felt that way for roughly 5 weeks until I realized that it wasn't me. It wasn't me who was hating on myself. It was other people who were hating on me. Now, for people who don't know, there's a word for that. It's called haters. Now, haters gonna hate. There's a reason why they say that. Is because there's always going to be that person that does not like you or does not appreciate your value. But remember, for every one person that disappreciates your value, there's going to be 3 other people who are going to worship you throughout your life. If there's one person from grade school who said, fuck you, there's going to be 3 other people in college that say, oh my God, you're fucking amazing. Because the world is not full of evil people. It's just full of evil thoughts, evil standards. You know? And it doesn't just go through women, it goes to men too. Because our brains somewhat work alike. And it's not just women who think that they're not good enough, it's also men. For example, I got a buddy, his name's Nathan. Now Nathan's always talking about how fat he is because his dad keeps telling him that. But in my opinion, he's actually not. He's just short. He's maybe like right there to me. He is right there. He's a short motherfucker, but he's not fat. He's my exact weight. And I'm pretty fucking slim, as you can see. I mean, I've got a pretty big gut right here. My arms, thin as hell. My legs, beefy. But that's because I ride bikes. Moral of the story. Before you decide you're going to speak to someone or not speak to someone because of what they look like, or because of what their personality is, or because they may look a little insecure, don't think of them as weak. Don't think of them as stupid or naive or even uncultured. Everybody has culture. Everybody has flavor. It's like music. There's all different types, but there's always going to be that one that sticks with you. And you stick with that. Well, it's pretty much the end of my segment here, but before I go, I would also like to give a shout out to my friend Isha. Now, Isha just so happens to be from India, and I met her through Facebook, and she actually gave me the idea for this. So, thank you, Isha, and, well, I'm Honest Sean, and this was some honest shit. You have a good night.